Uniformed youth groups like the Scouts and Red Cross have a long history in Hong Kong. For years, these groups have marched in a British style. Now there's change afoot. The Liaison Office has reportedly asked some groups to learn a Chinese marching style. Producer Ambrose Li explores what it means to march and to change the way you march.
Today's occasion is the parade of the operations group. So every year we recruit a lot of new young cadets and officer trainees, and now it's graduation time.
The Hong Kong Air Cadet Corps has been here for more than 40 years. It has always marched or drilled, but not always the same way.
Drill is a very, very single important tools for our skill sets to standardize discipline. When the Hong Kong Air Cadet Corps was first established in 1971, we used American style of marching drill because the founder of the Corps at the time was a retired military Air Force colonel of the States. After several years, the Hong Kong government, together with the British garrison at the time, suggest to the Hong Kong Air Cadet Corps, why don't you change to British style? It was in 1978. So from then on, we are able to maintain that sort of relationship for over some 40 years.
The Corps has more than 3,200 cadets and about 1,600 adult members. Members are eligible for pilot training scholarships. They can also take programs that lead to aviation careers or just for their own interest. Dozens of times a month, air cadets go up in helicopters. Marching by youth groups in Hong Kong is largely done in a British style. One exception is the newly formed Hong Kong Army Cadets. They use a Chinese style. There is a flag-raising ceremony each year to commemorate the May 4th movement. On that day in 1919, students began China-wide protests decrying foreign influence in China. The 14 uniformed groups taking part this year were reportedly asked by ceremony organizers how they would be marching, Chinese or British style. And the report said 7 of those groups, including the Air Cadets, were invited to a meeting at the Liaison Office where they were asked to change from a British to a Chinese style. We called the Liaison Office to follow up.
喂，你好请问是青年工作部吗？
是的。
我想找这饶女士。
我就是。
你好，我是无线电视明珠档案的记者。我们现在在做一个节目，是关于青少年制服团体的步操的。我们想访问一下发言人。
不好意思，我现在马上开会了，好，拜拜。
请问我。
So many, I would say, rumors all around, saying that many uniform groups are told to do so and so. I'm just making it very clear. There is no such thing whatsoever. We want to change. Never, ever. Nobody has ever told us. But it is a kind of self-initiative, knowing that we could do something better. And then we do it. We keep an open mind.
The Air Cadets told us they will not use the Chinese style of marching this Friday at the May 4th flag-raising ceremony. Hooray! The group works closely with the People's Liberation Army. The Air Cadets helped establish youth aviation education on the mainland. And the PLA supports the cadets here.
Only Sekong we have a runway, apart from that of the Hong Kong International Airport in China Liaison Office. So the PLA Air Force has been providing all this hardware.
Shortly after we met with the Air Cadets, we found out the Corps was to undergo drill training by the PLA at its barracks in Chateaucoq. There was training on 4 separate days, starting at the end of March. We were not permitted to film the training session. Footage, though, was leaked to Ming Pao. There have been other similar training sessions. We spoke with a cadet from a different group who attended one.
The camp I went to was co-organized by my group and the PLA Hong Kong garrison. The 15-day camp adopted a closed-off approach to training. We were not allowed to use our phones and to make phone calls. The army song sung at my camp is the same as the one at the recent PLA trainings, from leaked footage online. The song is called Battle Song of the Powerful Army and is based on Xi Jinping's targets for the military: to be obedient to the party's instructions, to win battles, and to have moral integrity.
I think the song this time is quite different from the military songs in the past. There are a lot of Xi Jinping's teaching in the new song, and I think the purpose is, in addition to teach the youngster to be familiar with the army, also it aims to the teaching of Xi Jinping, especially while he is the top leader of the army.
If the group was asked to change permanently to a PLA style, what would this mean to the group?
I don't think there is a special meaning. It is an additional skill set, as far as I'm concerned. And it's got nothing to do with people talking about all this ideology corrupting, Somebody may, I would say, they badmouth us, saying that, oh, we are pro-Chinese all the time. As Chinese, if I don't pro-China, what should I pro? Should I pro-USA? Or should I pro-Russia? Or should I pro-UK? So it's all kind of unnecessary rumors flying all around.
I believe the change of drill style is not only a change of movements. It most definitely involves the change of ideology. To my knowledge, Chinese drilling involves elements that promote the Communist Party.
I think the Chinese government would like to take the style first. Step by step, they will carry out some ideology and thinking teaching. This is the first step for the government to attract the youngster. And then they will try to influence the youngsters to absorb the ideology or the teaching or the thinkings of the government.
I have been in local uniform group for almost 20 years, and I spent more than 10 years as an adult member. And starting from 2008, I was trained as a drill instructor. It's very natural for us, people from the uniform groups in Hong Kong, to be uncomfortable because you're not talking about like small changes, hiccups, that sort of thing. You're talking about a major change in drill movements.
I am rather upset about the change because most of the uniformed groups in Hong Kong follow the British drill style. It is not aesthetically pleasing to march in a non-British style, wearing British uniform. British drilling is more aesthetically pleasing.
Drilling, as we call it, it is a continuous effort, training and teamwork until the movement is drilled into the body, where it becomes second nature of a group of men. Changing the physical movement means locking down everything that's built into them and reshape it completely. More importantly, by changing one to another, all the traditions, custom, and relatives behind any ceremonials will be lost completely. Arm swing between the two styles is totally different. Like the quick march in the British style, we do arm swing like the arm strict shoulder height and just wing more naturally at the side of the body. And the PLA style, which adopted from the goose step, let's say the Soviet Union style, the arm striking is more like a robot style. They just pull over the forearm to the chest level.
Another plain difference between the two styles, in British quick march, the leg movements are similar to normal walking. There's a rhythm of 116 paces per minute. Each step is 75 centimeters apart. The Chinese style shares the same rhythm and pace length, but the goose steps employed require the legs be completely straight. And there's another difference.
The British have a graceful movement called slow march. They consist of 60 pieces per minute, and it's more used on important ceremonial like funeral, like wedding, but the PLA doesn't have the slow time.
Vivian Chow spent 7 years as a cadet member of the Red Cross in Hong Kong.
Over the past 20 years, we have witnessed a lot of changes in Hong Kong, and a lot of them could be changing or could have affected the way how we carry on our tradition and heritage. Such suggestions of changing the drill steps among uniformed youth groups certainly is one of them. But is it necessary?
Lawrence Ho researches police and uniformed youth groups in Hong Kong. Being a part of a youth group here has always been voluntary, and the groups answer only to themselves.
It seems that this kind of idea, relatively autonomous arrangement of the extracurricular activities, may not be the case in some of the Asian neighborhood, particular mainland China, Taiwan, or some places which emphasize the direct involvement of the government.
Our group's march doesn't amount to much, he says, unless being part of a group is mandated.
What we should concern is whether the government would decide to impose some kind of significant and substantial curriculum changes in the secondary school.
For this program, we approached all 14 of the uniformed groups that will appear at the May 4th ceremony. The Sea Cadet Corps initially agreed to speak to us before withdrawing. Coming up after the break, the only other group that was prepared to talk.
For the time being, the Boys Brigade Hong Kong will not consider changing to a Chinese style of drilling.
Stay with us.